Joining me now is Dinesh D'Souza, conservative author, filmmaker, host of the Dinesh D'Souza podcast, and Dr. Carol Swain, former Princeton and Vanderbilt professor. Carol, I want to start with you. We're all for inclusion and making every citizen a part of this ongoing American experiment. But talk to me about the habit of dividing people along racial, sexual, and religious lines and what that does to our unity, particularly now.
I can tell you that I find it deeply offensive, and I believe that it is destroying our nation, and it is weakening our nation before the world. The only people who benefit from what is taking place are our foreign enemies, and I think that the American people are rejecting this. The Democratic Party, everything they seem to do seems to be about tearing down America instead of building it up. And they're bringing the American people together because across political lines, I believe that we've had enough.
Dinesh, very quick question. Put your political hat on for me briefly. What do you make of Biden trying to commandeer July 4th as a vaccine victory event?
Well, I think that for Biden, he is in a bit of a trap because I think there's a part of him that would want to affirm July 4th in traditional patriotic terms, but he knows he can't do that. He now has a kind of boisterous left that responds even to the anthem, the flag, the founders, all the paraphernalia of the founding as racist. Probably if Biden even talked about a cookout, people will say, well, cookouts, you know, the whites are disproportionately known to attend cookouts. And so there's such a poisonous rhetoric afoot from the left, and Biden is kind of captive to it. So just about the only unifying thing he can think of is, well, you know, we're all trying to fight the virus, so maybe if I focus on the virus, that will help us find a common ground on July 4th. It's a statement of the pathos of the Democratic Party that we are at this point.
Dinesh, you are a naturalized citizen, and I want to play you something. CBS this morning interviewed an author who is a naturalized citizen, Roger Bennett, and he explained what drew him to America and why it appealed to him. Listen.
A bloke who grew up in the murk of 1980s England, inhaling everything American I could lay my hands on that made the United States my light in the darkness. A place filled with possibility and promise, and for whom the act of becoming an American citizen is the single greatest achievement of my life.
It's actually really beautiful. I think of my father, who's also a naturalized citizen. I was struck by the power of his witnessing to America's ascendant 80s culture, Dinesh. That was the lure for him. Contrast that to where we are today, very quickly.
Well, I think that all immigrants recognize that we have come to a country that was made before we got here. So even though people say America is a country that is sort of built by immigrants, yeah, immigrants have contributed to the building of America, but America was invented by its original settlers. They, in a sense, orchestrated, they set up this country that immigrants subsequently were attracted to. And that's why the kind of denunciation of the original settlers, the people who made America, is offensive to every immigrant, black, white, or brown.
Yeah, that's a great segue. Carol, I want you to react to this. We found something Frederick Douglass wrote about the founding fathers who have been much maligned, as you heard from my intro. He wrote, the signers of the Declaration of Independence were brave men. They were great men, too. I cannot contemplate their great deeds with less than admiration. They were statesmen, patriots, and heroes. And for the good they did and the principles they contended for, I will unite with you to honor their memory. Carol, it's important to note Douglass was an escaped slave, and he has more reverence for the founding fathers than free Americans do today.
Yes, and if you think about Dr. Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders, we've always believed in America, and the American people, I believe, across racial and ethnic lines, they do not buy into the Democratic Party's radical vision to destroy this nation. And I, as a Black American, I love this nation. I see it as the greatest nation in the world. And despite our flaws, I think that we can move beyond this moment, look back at this time, and hopefully learn from it and never let it happen again.
It's a great point. And you know, Carol and Dinesh, the amazing thing is, while we apologize for America or accent her sins and protest and attack the things that unite us, in China, they're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party. It looks like the Olympics opening ceremonies over there with Xi sitting atop the wedding cake. But I'm out of time. We'll leave it there. Dinesh and Carol, thank you for being here.